Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of More to Explore. Our last episode, we were welcoming back the manatees at Blue Springs, and now look how many there are. This is our final show for 2024, so today we're looking back at the top 10 most memorable moments. My name is Brian Bird, and I'm joined once again by the one and only Mike Fitz. Mike, good afternoon.
Hey, Brian. Hey, everyone around the world, no matter where you happen to be watching from. Glad to be here today. And if you're new to Explode.org, welcome to the community. Of course, welcome back to all of our longtime viewers. I'm looking forward to the program today because we plan to recap the 10 most popular moments on Explode.org's social media channels in 2024. There was quite a few to choose from, Brian, but how were the moments chosen?
Yeah, so we went through all across Explore.org's social media channels like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and these we pulled the top 20 performing clips, and then we put them out for everyone to vote on. And then last week, everybody voted for their top moments, so we're happy to reveal the top 10.
And we want to know too about your memorable moments this year, because I know that they're not going to be completely captured in our top 10 list. So if you're watching, you've been watching the cams all year, or maybe just for a few days, whatever it happens to be, uh, put your favorite moments in the comments. We'll be looking to share some of those as we head along today. In fact, Brian, even before the program began, Steph 2043 wrote in and said, that their favorite moment this year would be 856 becoming a Zen bear after many years of dominance. And we definitely saw bear 856 at Katmai National Park in Alaska behaving a little bit differently than what we're used to this year because he wasn't as hyper dominant as he was. So yeah, I think he was showcasing really his adaptability, realizing that he couldn't confront and challenge some of these big adult males like he had done in the past. And we saw a much more patient 856. So thanks, Steph, for writing in. We will get to some more of those favorite moments from our viewers or live audience in a few minutes. But let's begin with number 10 on our list. We covered this event last summer on More to Explore. It's brought to us by our partnership with the Impala Research Center in Kenya. And Brian, it has a bit of a delay, David and Goliath vibe.
Definitely. And some of these clips, I can't share the audio just for copyright reasons. For you can see them on the platforms, but this was definitely one of our top performing shorts on YouTube, and you can see why.
Yeah, this was a really fun thing to see. You had this relatively small hippo take on this this big elephant. And in the clip, you can see that the elephant really is seeing how far it can push it, challenging the young hippo, looking to see whether the hippo is going to back down. The head lift is typical of elephants, and it's a warning to other animals. It's flapping out its ears. It means that the elephant is really trying to make itself look larger. And then also in the live footage too, we could hear the elephant vocalizing. There was movements, the trunk waving, everything was an attempt to get that small hippo to move on. The elephant also knew that she had her herd nearby, and for a lot of social animals, elephants included, there's safety and comfort in numbers. But then you look at it from the hippo's perspective. The hippo's body language in this clip is maybe a bit more difficult to read because it doesn't have like big giant ears or trunk like the elephant, but it likely knows that it can retreat to the water for safety if necessary, and it doesn't give a big yawn that serves as a warning like you'd see from a territorial adult hippo. So this is, again, as you can see, a fairly small hippo. It's nowhere near close to fully grown, so maybe it hasn't learned the rules of the road, or maybe the hippo isn't really taking a risk at all. Maybe it just knows it can stand its ground in this situation. It really does appear to be calling the elephant's bluff in defense of the hippo pool. So again, that maybe the open question remains: was the youngster a bit naive in its abilities and sensibilities, or was this a display of bravery in the face of challenge from a much larger opponent? I'll let our audience decide. Although I'm leaning towards bravery driven by instinct for the hippo. Brian, that's it comes to us again from Impala in Kenya, but number 9 on the list also includes hippos at Impala. And this clip is an amazing clip that captures the birth of a life.
Yeah, definitely. This was definitely a first for me. I remember the day when we was able to watch it live, and what an incredible moment to witness. And this video was published on our main YouTube channel, Explore Live Nature Cams. And we see baby hippos many times on the cams, but you never quite know how old they are. So it's pretty interesting to see this definitely newborn hippo.
Yes, this is like, I mean, just born hippo was amazing to watch. And I consider, this to be one of those dramatic, unexpected moments that webcams allow us to witness. It's a rare privilege to see a wild animal give birth. And hippo moms, they give birth in water to a calf that looks small, but usually weighs between 50 and 100 pounds. So yeah, it's it's not that small, relatively speaking, compared to a human. And then the mother's attention to her calf in this situation was nearly unflinching, excuse me, even as fish worked to rip the remnants of the placenta from her. So yeah, this was a really special moment to see, and one of the ones that I certainly thought of as a top moment for the year.
And coming in at number 8, who doesn't love the 910 family? And this clip comes from our Instagram account, Explore.org.
Yeah, the next three moments actually in our countdown involve families as well, including this special bear family with an adopted cub at Brooks River in Katmai National Park. So yeah, let's welcome 910 and her family to the party. 910 is an adult female who was raising two cubs this past summer. She adopted her sister's cub in 2023 as part of her family, and the family stayed together last summer. 910, I think, is the bear on the right. Her adopted niece is to her left. And then 910's biological cub is out of the camp's line of sight in this clip, but it's nearby. They're calm and playful in this situation. The cubs are independent, still yet mamas. They're still mama's girls. So they were a great example of success as it is defined for bear families at Brooks River. They were healthy, they got super fat by the end of the year, and I think this is a classic example of the 910 family's behavior, just chilling along the river, minding their own business in a sense, and having some fun and being relaxed. We did have another moment come in from Stormy, Brian, that has his or her favorite moment is one of the most memorable moments I saw on the Katmai Bears cams was 32 Chunk blindsiding 747 with a rush attack while 747 was sleeping on the island. So yeah, that was a bit more of a dramatic instance
Definitely.
of I think a lot of us who are watching the Bear cams can remember this. 747 on the island this year, minding his own business when 32 Chunk, who was the river's most dominant bear this summer, came up from behind him and basically just tried to tackle him. It was Chunk showing his dominance, improving his dominance in that situation. So thanks, Stormy, for sharing that for sharing their most memorable moment of the year, and thanks to Katmai National Park for partnering with us for the bear cams where we saw this family. And Brian, moving on to number 7, the next moment in our countdown also comes to us from Brooks River, and it's another family, just not a family of bears.
Yeah, Mike. Watching this clip, I just have questions. So one, what kind of bird is this? And is it typical for this bird to have that many little ones?
Well, this is a common merganser, and it's not an uncommonly large family. The reason for that isn't because all of these chicks might be that mother's direct offspring or biological offspring. Common mergansers typically lay 8 to 12 eggs per female, so they can have big clutches, but I think there's more than 12 babies in this clutch. And they can get much bigger because sometimes unrelated females will dump eggs into another female's nest. They'll be like, hey, I know that this merganser has a nest over here. I have an egg to lay. So I'm just going to go dump an egg in there. So sometimes that happens. And then merganser ducklings, they'll leave the nest within about 2 days of hatching. So, similar to what you'd find in like mallards or Canada goose. Out on the water, the ducklings are largely independent, but they need protection from their mother initially. Predators like gulls and eagles, they can reduce the size of a merganser family over time, but the families can also grow. So getting back to your second part of your question, Brian, is it typical for a mother merganser to have this many? They can. and sometimes two merganser families will be, using the same area, maybe along Brooks River, for instance. They'll come together and then they'll be next to each other, and then they just sort of split apart. It's almost like a fusion fission type
Huh.
of deal. This is a phenomenon in this species that biologists call amalgamation or creche formation. It isn't well studied in the species, so we don't know the reason why it occurs. But my guess is that the ducklings just get confused and they're not sure who mom might be, and they decide to go with the flock to find safety in numbers. They just like, okay, well, most of them are going this way, so I'm going to go that way as well. And so for this species, who mom might be could be less important than having a mom to guide you in your early life. And Brian, voters chose to choose with Brooks River for number 6 on our list as well.
Yeah, coming up at number 6. Each year we have a great time seeing all the bears playing, and there's another great reel from our Instagram account.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is a really, I guess you could say, weird way for bears to play in the water. Over the entirety of the summer, like you said, we get to see a lot of bears doing a lot of different things, play included, and we get to see them playing frequently, especially on days when they feel like they're well fed. What caught everyone's attention in this clip was the unusual way that bear 208 decided to play. Play fighting among bears usually includes open mouth jawing, kind of gently swiping with paws and biting around the face and the neck. It usually doesn't include jumping. That's because bears aren't built to jump upward. Their musculature, their skeleton, it's just not well adapted for that. We'll sometimes see them jumping off of objects, like jumping off of a log, for instance, but you don't really see them jumping up in the air to get at anything. But in this situation, 208, he's in the water. I think he realizes, that the water gives him a lot of buoyancy. If he was outside of the water, I doubt he would have considered moving in this way. He recognizes the buoyancy provided by the water, and he's using it just to have a little bit of fun. So this was, really, really cool to see. And play, in a sense, is a form of communication. It says, I have extra energy and I'm willing to engage in a friendly manner. Cat My Bears will join us later in the countdown. We're also looking for your favorite moments of the year if you're watching live with us right now. So drop those in the comments, and we'll try to share a few of those as we head down through our list. And we're halfway through, Brian, right now. Let's consider another role of communication as we head into our next clip. We'll listen to this one. In people and bald eagles, communication is one of the keys to a healthy relationship.
100%. Let's see what they have to say in our number 5 moment. I love it. Such a cool call.
It is. It's hearing eagles is one of those things that when you hear them, I always turn my head. It's just one of those noises that grabs your attention. So hopefully everyone will have the opportunity to hear bald eagles calling in the wild in person. Their numbers have really rebounded over the last 30 or 40 years in North America, especially in the contiguous United States where they were once endangered, and their populations are now healthy. So really a great conservation success story. But getting back to this video, perching, nest building, and the so-called nestoration activities and vocalizations between male and female eagles that help to establish and reaffirm pair bonds. Mr. North and the Decorah North female, excuse me, my dog is right up in my face. What do you need right now, lady? I need you to just give me a little bit of a break, and we will play in about 15 minutes. Does that sound good to you? Of course, I'm Brian, talking to my dog like she can rationalize everything that I'm saying. It's mostly for my own thought processes.
That's okay.
But anyway,
all of our furry friends that explore, definitely anytime they get a chance to steal a show, we better let them.
Right. And I just gave her like a chew to munch on before the program, hoping to relax her, but it didn't seem to take up enough of her time. But we'll get back to my dog in a different program. But talking about the eagles again, it's all part of this courtship process. This was captured in early November, so it's only part of the long pair bonding and courtship process that we can witness between these birds in their preparation for egg laying and incubation in February. And this footage is brought to us by our partnership with the Raptor Resource Project. And not to spoil anything, Brian, but the rest of our countdown is very bear centric. I think because the audience who voted on the moments is peppered with a high proportion of bear cam fans.
Definitely. Coming up at moment number 4, 2:30 Ben has a spa day.
Yeah, so we saw an example earlier of play between bears, but bears are more than capable of finding toys on their own. So here is bear number 230, who is better known as to bear cam fans as Ben. He's tossing a piece of wood or sod between his paws. I'm not sure what it happens to be, but I think it's just, a natural piece of something that he found along the river. As bears age and mature, they become less apt to play. But Bear 230 hasn't reached that age yet. He's an adult, yet he has a lot of growing left to do. And I think there's a lesson there to everybody that we can, play helps us stay young. So be more like Ben here and stay young. And before we move on to our next clip, Brian, we did have another moment come in from our audience. Procrastinator talking about 806 Junior taking control of the cameras and leaving his nose to smudge for the rest of the season. Yes, absolutely. So if you're not familiar with the story, 806 Junior is a cub that we saw along Brooks River this year. We have our Brooks Falls low camera. This bear went right up to that camera, smudged it with their snout, and left a mark there that we saw every time that we turned on that camera. It was there, and it's probably still there right now. I don't know if anybody had the opportunity to get down to clean it before the Rangers left the river for the year. So yeah, thanks Procrastinator for sharing that moment. We're heading to the top 3 right now, though, Brian. And brown bears are considered generally to be solitary animals, and that doesn't mean they aren't social, though. They have social adaptations, I should say, that allow them to coexist in close proximity, which brings us to number 3 on our list.
Yeah, number 3, we have Bearpalooza at Brooks Falls. And this video was definitely one of the top performing videos on YouTube, and it was just simply an hour of unedited footage. So if you get the bear cam blues this winter, this is definitely the video to watch.
Right, this is one of those videos that I try to sneak onto, families' television sets if I'm visiting them for a holiday party or something like that. So, load this up, let it play. I guarantee it's probably better than most everything that you'll find on television. And at first, when you see a sleuth of bears at Brooks Falls, the scene may seem chaotic. There's a lot of order to the gathering, however. The most dominant bears occupy the most productive fishing spots close to the falls. Less dominant bears wait their turn nearby. Most often, near bears that they know are likely to express tolerance toward them or can be friendly toward them. In the absence of that, or if they aren't feeling comfortable in close quarters, because not all bears really kind of feel like they can get up there and interact or compete with the bears right at Brooks Falls. A lot of them will just kind of hang back. They'll wait at an appropriate distance that they recognize is unlikely to provoke a reaction from other bears. As 20 to 30 bears or more congregate at the falls, it means that there's a lot of bears on the river, but not a huge number of salmon that day. There are just enough fish to keep the bears occupied and interested, just not enough for them to find fishing success away from the falls. So it's a set of circumstances that brings conflict for space at the waterfall. At the same time, it showcases the bears' adaptability when faced with the challenges of living within a crowd. Brooks River's brown bears aren't the only bears that we watched who live in crowded conditions when the circumstances are appropriate for that or allow for it to happen. In 2024, Brian, we welcomed cameras at Tongass National Forest into the explore.org community.
Yeah, coming in at number two, we have the Annan Bear Secret Handshake. And this is the first year for this cam, and I was excited to see how many viewers were enjoying it along with me. But these Cubs definitely stole the show.
Absolutely. I greatly enjoyed watching the black bears fishing for salmon at Ann Creek. These are first year black bear cubs in this clip specifically. Black bears have a well-deserved reputation for curiosity and intelligence, and their journey to explore those traits begins at a very young age. Essentially, it starts even before mother leaves the den with her cubs. Though, even though the pawing between the siblings in this clip lasts only for a few seconds, you can almost see something clicking in their minds. It's like, hey, they just sort of did this by accident, and then they're like, what this is interesting. What happens if we can continue to do this? So I do need someone to make a meme out of this. So anytime, in social media, if you're agreeing with somebody, you can just have your little secret high five handshake. I think that would be a cool thing to do. But yeah, Ann Creek, great cameras. We're looking forward to those coming back next year. And another audience moment, favorite moment from Kraylin, who wrote in and said, my favorite moment was the polar bears breaching the fence on the Cape cams. Yeah, we put up new cameras at it in Wapusk National Park, way out at Cape Churchill, and to protect sort of like the tower that the cameras are on. Polar Bears International installed an electric fence around it, but I think there was a malfunction in the fence this year, because we did have many polar bears actually going to the fence and be like, "Hey, what is this weird thing?" and not getting that little jolt of electricity that keeps them away. Electric fences are really great deterrents to keep bears away from things that we don't want bears to be messing with, but sometimes electric fences don't work the way that they should. So yeah, Crayland saw that, as many of us on Explode.org happen to do. We have many of those clips that we pulled for maybe some archiving purposes in the future. So yeah, Crayland, thanks for writing in and sharing that with us. Those are nearly all of our top Explode.org social media moments for 2024 as voted by our viewers. Before we get to number one, though, Brian, we also asked people to write in their favorite moments on the voting page on Explore.org if they didn't see their favorite moments on our list. And we wanted to share one from Cloud, who actually gave us several things to choose from. So Cloud thought, and just one of the examples that Cloud gave was this amazing footage of caribou, a large caribou herd, again, moving through the tundra of Wapusk National Park in Canada. And again, this is brought to us with our partnership with Polar Bears International. And I kind of wonder, rhetorically at least, is there anything that represents the abundance of the Arctic better than a herd of caribou? So yeah,
Right.
this was just amazing to see. And again, thanks to Cloud for bringing this to our attention as a favorite moment for her. Cloud is a moderator, perennial chat moderator on the polar bear cams on Explore.org and maybe some other places too. Cloud never seems to miss anything on the cams in and around Churchill, Manitoba. And again, thanks to our webcam partner, Polar Bears International, for working with us again to showcase the wildlife of Western Hudson Bay.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna ask you, like, what was your favorite moment of the year?
Yeah, I could have chosen a bear moment, but I had to choose a moment that came directly from my house that I was able to share with the world. My top webcam moment was the April 8th total solar eclipse. I was nervous uh, about this day. I've been leading for like 2 years. I've been looking forward to this day, really more than 2 years. I was nervous that the weather would be too cloudy to see it because it happened in April, and where I live in Maine, it's just not like a sunny part of the world to begin with. We often have a lot of cloudy days. But I was lucky that day. The sky was perfectly clear. The eclipse really was unlike anything that I had ever experienced before. And I wrote about that experience uh, on Explode.org's blog. So go ahead and look that up if you can, because I feel like I'm more articulate in writing about this experience than speaking about it. But if you ever have a chance to see a total solar eclipse, do not miss that opportunity. And I had like 3 minutes of totality. So this is the actual footage from that moment. It was really just amazing to see. There's nothing like it. The moon becomes so strongly backlit that it seems like there's an actual black hole punched in the sky. There's like this speck of darkness where there is no light emanating. Of course, the moon is still there. It's just so strongly backlit that it provides that optical illusion. Photos and videos really can't truly capture this experience. So go see a total solar eclipse at your very next opportunity. Don't miss it. So Brian, I was so pleased to be able to share this with everybody around the world. But that's, one of the things that we get to do with Explode.org is create community and share experiences with one another. And I'm curious about you. What did you find this year that was particularly memorable for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I have two. One of them, of course, is a bear moment. In June, I got to tag along with Joe and BJ to go to Katmai, and I was, super grateful to be able to share some behind the scenes with everybody. And of course, being able to see Chunk in person, be able to share with everybody the little preseason bear cam preview. But especially on the webcams, we've had some incredible solar storms this year. And then here's a couple of clips from the Northern Lights cam in Churchill, Manitoba, and just seeing some beautiful like purples and reds and something that you haven't been able to really see before. And even just like the vividness of, like this shot here, the greens like hanging directly overhead was just like very, really special.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to see more of that coming up this winter and next year, as we're still kind of like in a moment in time where there's a solar maximum activity, so a lot of solar storms going through space. And yeah, this is remarkably beautiful footage, Brian. So yeah, it's hard to argue with that choice. So thanks for reminding us of this. And yeah, check out the aurora forecast. Check out the aurora cams that we have in Churchill, Manitoba, and in Fairbanks, Alaska. Before we get to our top moment of the year as voted on by the audience, Birgit wrote in their favorite moment, saying 4 young female bears, 17, 306, 428, and 429, fishing the lip of Brooks Falls with a young adult male, 912. Gathering together gave them access to a spot that most young bears could not access. So yeah, looking at how bears are social animals in a sense, and how they can be adaptable and learn each other's tolerances for one another. I mean, we get to see that every day when we're watching the bear cams on Explode.org. So again, yeah, thanks for sharing that moment with us. We have one final moment to share. This is our number one social media moment of the year, as voted on by the audience. Let's not forget that Explode.org's webcams capture unfiltered, unedited footage of wild animals doing wild things. So that means we get to see inspiring scenes, as well as nature's harsh realities. In early October this year, a well-known brown bear at Brooks River, number 402, was killed by another bear that we saw it live on the bear cam. It was really hard for many people to watch. Bear 402 was a bear that many of us knew for a long, long time. But our tribute video to her life and legacy was voted Explode.org's number one social media moment of 2024.
At Brooks River in Katmai National Park, Alaska, we know bears to be resilient in the face of difficulty. We know bears to be unique individuals. We know bears can lead long lives. We also know they can suffer sudden and painful deaths. Sometimes all those things coalesce at a single place and time. Bear 402 was a first-year cub when introduced to Brooks River by her mother in 1998. Biologists identified her as an independent 3.5-year-old bear in 2001. She returned to the river every year of her life. In 2004, she brought the first of her 8 litters of cubs, 2 of which were litters of 4. She separated from her last cub in July 2024. Her life is more than statistics, however. On the lip of Brooks Falls, 402's skill was nearly unmatched. Her maturity while fishing was evidenced by her hallmarks, such as calm and poise. She faced adversity in situations when her cubs were threatened, killed, or disappeared. She learned from those experiences and moved on to raise and wean bears such as 503, 101, and others who continue to use Brooks River. On September 30th, 2024, 402 was attacked and killed by bear 469, a large, almost 30-year-old adult male who was infrequently seen at the river. Both bears appeared healthy, at least from the behavior that we could see. Salmon remained plentiful in the river as well, yet while uncommon, bears sometimes see other bears as prey. The surprising news and footage of 402's death filled many of us with sorrow. She was a beloved bear. More plainly, we almost never know how any specific bear dies. Katmai's landscape is so large and so wild that bears usually disappear to never be seen again by humans. The event serves as a stark reminder of the harsh realities of their lives as wild animals. It is possible to feel empathy for a bear that dies a painful death and acknowledge that this is a part of the bear world. Those truths are not mutually exclusive. Nature has a special ability to remind us that life is short and precious. 402 led a successful life as a wild bear. Her legacy didn't end in her death either. It continues through her offspring and resonates in the memories of people around the world who saw 402 as a mother bear of skill, maturity, and resilience.
Four 402's death, meant a lot of different things to us. I hope we can use her memory to better understand the world of bears, respect them as individuals, and seek ways that we can live alongside wildlife. We're going to need everyone to stand up for wildlife and wild spaces, including in your local neighborhoods and communities. Bears, salmon, bald eagles, hippos, birds like mergansers, everything. They need us to share the world with them. Earth is their planet as much as it is our own.
Well said. And those were our top 10 memorable moments. So thank you all for joining through us. And although we are getting close to the end of the year, we still have a few live events coming up, including, of course, the regular shows, the Africam show tomorrow, Tuesday at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. And we'll have our last live chat of the year this Wednesday. We'll have the Manatee's Journey live chat, Mike, that you're hosting. What are you going to be talking about for this one?
Yeah, we're going to talk with Cora Burcham from Save the Manatee Club, and we're going to be discussing the migration of manatees to and from their wintertime refuges. Essentially, there's warm water refuges. There's places that we're seeing them on our live cams right now. What's the manatee's life like away from those spaces? That's what we're going to be talking about then. And then on Thursday, I'll also be on the Wild Moments show. So if you want to listen to me, join our Africam hosts for footage of African wildlife. We'll be happy to have you along for the ride. So join us then, 9 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday.
Nice. And also, we're going to have our final episode of Drawn to Explore, where we're going to be doing an underwater scene. That'll be Friday, December 20th, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And of all the clips that you've seen today, you can see them all on our social media channels. Be sure to follow us on your favorite social media platform, including our main YouTube channel where you're seeing this show, Explore Live Nature Cams. And Mike, as far as following us on social media, how else can people get involved with Explore.org?
Yeah, a lot of the magic at Explore.org, or maybe most of it, happens through our volunteers. So if you think you might have a couple hours a week or something like that, or every other week to join us as a moderator on the chats, or maybe to drive some of our cameras, then go to explore.org/volunteer, fill out the form there, and we'll get back to you with more information. And of course, thanks to all of our camera operators and moderators who capture, all of the moments that we saw today. Basically, they are captured by the camera operators, the moderators, the cam ops. They tell us about these things so we can archive them and share them with everyone else.
Awesome. And thank you everyone for joining us again today. We're going to leave you with more Bearpalooza footage. Thank you for being a part of the Explore family this year. And like this show, I love doing this show. And if you have any ideas for this show or other live events you'd like to see, you can always send us your suggestions at feedback@explore.org. And I'm looking forward to next year with some more amazing moments. And I want to give another special thank you to all of our moderators, camera operators, and of course, Mike Fitz. And I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. And we'll see you next year. And until then, happy exploring.